Metropolitans were living and dying with every single pitch with this team. We'll go over what happened against the Marlins, and then we'll preview the Braves series, although the preview is not going to really mean much once this gets out and about. So we'll just talk about the final home stretch, what to expect for the postseason, and overall thoughts about the current roster, the current lineup, the current pitching rotation, the current bullpen, and what's Buck doing? A lot of decisions to be made heading down the stretch. We'll look at most likely playoff scenarios, and let's talk Mets. Let's talk Mets. You know, I had mentioned when talking about the Giants that in that Monday Night Football game against the Cowboys, every snap was life or death. Every pitch of this second Marlins game was life or death for me. Life or death. It was unreal. And it's unreal to think that this team is on the precipice of winning 100 games. We are officially one of the top 5 hottest teams in Major League Baseball over the past 2 weeks, and people are still, myself included, chomping away at the fingernails and rubbing a goddamn wearing a path in our carpets, collective carpets, pacing back and forth, wringing our hands, pulling our hair out because of the goddamn Atlanta Braves just don't refuse to give up, even though they lost against the Nats. We're at 97 wins now, 98 wins, and we just can't give up. We got to keep putting the pedal to the metal. I hate playing the Marlins in September, dude. I hate it. It's I tweeted like, how much do you think Steve Cohen needs to pay Major League Baseball for the Mets to never play the Marlins in September again? Never, dude, ever. I never want to see the Marlins in September. And you know, there are tweets out there saying like, oh, we're on the precipice of 100 win. This is a 100-win team that's already clinched the playoff spot, and we're still fretting over scattered losses to the Cubs, Nats, and Marlins. And I'm like, my man, I don't give a fuck if those losses are in April or May or even June or even July. But when they come down the stretch, especially in September, you're not a Mets fan if you don't get a little skittish about those losses. If that doesn't bring up something dark within your soul, I don't know that you're really a true Mets fan. Where were you in 07, 08, my man? Where the hell were you in 87? You know, this is like shit happens down the home stretch and this is why baseball is an insane sport, because you can follow for 150, 140 games and feel high as a kite and be like, this team is the best in the world. We're gonna run a train on everyone in the playoffs and go to the World Series. And then September hits and you start losing, you get swept by the Nationals, and then you get swept by the Cubs, and then you're losing games to the Marlins, and it's just like, okay. I mean, I shouldn't say you're not a Mets fan. You are a better Mets fan, I guess, than 90% of the fan base. Because like for you to still have that confidence and that swagger to you as a fan, having gone through that and seeing all that, I don't know. You're a strong, mentally strong person, and I envy you. But it's hard to not to have the knee-jerk cringe moments where, you're like, I can't believe we're losing to the fucking Marlins 4-0 at home in a tight pennant race. And I tweeted, how do the Marlins lose 90 games? They put up a graphic of the probables or the pitchers. The Marlins pitcher, the opponent's batting average was like 168 and his ERA was 3.57. How does that happen? I feel like the Marlins might be the biggest anomaly in Major League Baseball. They have to be. For them to have the kind of pitching staff they have, the pitchers that they have, who are lights out as far as the starting rotation goes, and are able to come up with big hits against pretty good pitching, how do they have 91 losses? How is that possible? It blows my mind. But now we got this Brave series coming up. The Hurricane Ian that was threatening play in Atlanta has been downgraded to a tropical storm. The Mets offered to move, because they're off today, tomorrow. They were going to move up the game up one, so they didn't have to play a doubleheader if it was rained out. And the Braves were like, no. I think we're going to avoid all that nonsense. But Clem from Barstool Sports made a good point. It's like, if we didn't have this labor stoppage or whatever, labor dispute at the beginning of the season that pushed the season back, the Mets would not be playing this series against the Braves this late in the season. But I gotta say, it's conflicting as hell. Part of me wants to believe this series against the Braves is, for all intents and purposes, the postseason, and that iron sharpens iron. And by us engaging in this tough late September postseason-esque series, it's gonna bolster us, embolden us for the actual postseason. The other part of me is like, we're gonna expound so much energy and effort on this series to win the division that if we do lose the series and in essence the division, we're going to be shot for the postseason. So if we win the series, we win the division, it'll all be worth it, and we'll get the bye and we'll get to rest and we'll get some guys back from injury, although it doesn't sound like Starling Marte is going to be back anytime soon, which freaking stinks. And doesn't look like Darren Ruff is going to be making the postseason roster. It's like, it'd be nice to have JD Davis right now. But you live and you learn, dude. I mean, like, JD Davis was not exactly lighting the world on fire. He wasn't like stinking out loud like Ruff is, but he wasn't lighting the world on fire. And Naquin's come back down to earth. Vogelback has kind of come back down to earth. But then you have Eduardo Escobar, dude. The September of Escobar. Unreal the numbers he's putting up. And Tomas Nido has had a pretty decent September so far. So I almost got to think you have to say to McCann, it's almost like McCann is your late game defensive replacement in tight games, strictly there to throw guys out if they try to steal. Like 8th, 9th inning, tight ball game, they bring in their base runner, we have McCann behind the plate, and he can throw them out. That's essentially his sole purpose now, because he's can't be trusted in the lineup. Nito's on fire. Nito's better defensively and is preferred by DeGrom and the pitching staff, I guess. So I guess Nito is your guy moving forward. Would love to see Escobar continue this hot streak, which is crazy. But loving it. And to think that at the trade deadline, we were pissed that we didn't get a third baseman. And now Escobar is the guy that we all were hoping he would be, and then some. The fact that he has 20 home runs is crazy to me. I was like, he's lucky to get to 10 and he's at 20 and no signs of stopping. So hopefully he's able to continue things. I think Pete, gone a little cold, especially with runners in scoring position, kind of can happen here or there. I think he's just pressing too much. Same could be said of Lindor. I mean, last night was a case of we had the opportunities, guys in position, and I think the hitters were just pressing too much. We are an offense based on the premise of grinding it out, working the pitch count, making pitchers work for it. And in three or more chances where we have runners in scoring position and we have Lindor, Alonso, and even McNeil up at bat, you think, okay, we're going to at least advance the runners or get a guy in. It's just a foregone conclusion. And then they're swinging at the first pitch, or they're swinging at balls way out of the strike zone. It's just pressing too much. The McNeil at bat was crazy to me. I did not expect that out of Jeff to swing at the first pitch, especially such a bad pitch where it was there's only so much you can do with that. I don't know you can do anything with that. I fully expected for McNeil to come through in that position, not Escobar. And so that was a pleasant surprise. But they don't make it easy on us, do they? But again, grinding it out, they were able to do what the Braves weren't able to do against the Nats in extra innings. We are as close to perfect in extra innings as you can be, which is a great sign. And what it comes down to in terms of when you're looking at the postseason, so for the Brave series, it's DeGrom in game 1, Scherzer in game 2, Bassett in game 3. I think I love Jacob DeGrom. Okay, I love him, but at the same time, he's kind of not been, he's just not quite there yet to where we know him to be. Pre this year, pre 2021, where it was you can expect at least 7 innings, you can expect double-digit strikeouts, you can expect this. Now you got to pencil him in for 5, probably not 6. He's not going to hit double-digit Ks. He's still going to look fairly dominant most at-bats, but he's not looking like he used to, And I think you can tell that when he gives up a home run or a hit, he's kind of almost a little thrown off. Whoa, that's not supposed to happen. So I'm not entirely confident about game 1, especially since we're going up against Max Fried. I think that probably is a close loss, unfortunately. You got Scherzer against, I forget who in game 2. I feel better about that game. I think that's probably a W. And then I feel the most confident about Bassett in game 3. I think that's a definite win. And then, we go from there. But someone tweeted that they saw, wouldn't it be just so Mets to win the series against Atlanta and then get swept by the Nationals in the last 3 games or not? I was like, why did you put that into my brain? I didn't need that in my brain. My brain is so crowded with so many bad thoughts. I don't need that dancing around up there. So, listen, Pete's having an unbelievable year. Lindor, career season. McNeil, career season. I think only Freddie Freeman has a higher batting average than McNeil. Escobar's coming around. I would like to see a little bit more out of Guillorme. I think Guillorme hasn't been what the doctor has ordered. I think, a lot of people thought when he came back, there was going to be be an infusion of offense and whatnot. And I don't know that I've necessarily seen that out of Guillorme yet. I think Nimmo has been kind of inconsistent and spotty, although he is a master. He's still a master at drawing walks. So I think there's, if anyone can take maybe Lindor and McNeil and Pete can just just take notes next time Nimmo's at bat. Would love to see Naquin, step up. And, I think Canna has come back down to earth a little bit, after looking so hot in late August. So there's a debate now. I think Anthony Tacoma put this out in a newsletter and a tweet. Okay, as we start to prep for the postseason, who do you really want to be that fourth starter for the Mets? Is it going to be Carlos Carrasco or Taijuan Walker? And I tell you what, this Marlins season didn't do them any favors, either one of them. I think SNY put it out. They put out a poll. Who'd you rather see our fourth starter, Carrasco or Walker? And I wrote in Trevor Williams because it feels like Trevor Williams has been the most consistent out of the three. I mean, Cookie, he's an interesting cat, man. Same with Walker. It feels like they Carrasco either has like a horrific first inning and then settles down, or is just pretty, okay, and is able to give us 6 solid innings. Walker is similar, although his bad inning, you don't know when it's coming, but it's usually bad. And so either one of those, I don't feel like I'm not like that confident in either one of those guys. Oddly enough, I almost want to see Trevor Williams, like just give him the ball and see what happens. Just be like, yeah, maybe he'll give us 5 innings, 1 or 2 runs. Okay. But then you have to count on your bullpen, which is, although Drew Smith looked good. Edwin's Edwin. He's just, he's playing out of his gourd. Drew Smith showed me a lot in extra innings last night. Hopefully that's the Drew Smith we get moving forward. And that the previous outing against, was it the Brewers? Is just affirmation? Nope. I'm out of words. A lot of words. I think I've run out of words. The vocabulary is not running on E. What is it? Conflagration? No. Apostulation? Abomination? Nope. I'll figure it out about half an hour after I stop recording. All right. So yeah, I think I had the postseason probabilities here where we can see most likely scenarios. It looks like obviously the Dodgers and the Astros are the top seeds in each of their leagues. Right now, I think Baseball Reference has the Mets winning, with the Cardinals winning the Central, and then the Braves, Padres, Phillies as the wild cards. The Phillies have not exactly been running away with that last wild card spot with the Brewers, but I don't know, the Brewers have really done much to threaten. But it looks like the Brewers will come up short and the Phillies will get that last wildcard spot, so say we don't win the division and we do get that first wild card, we're the 4 seed, we would then face the Padres, which I'm not too keen on. Would be nice, like if we were not to win the East, to face the Phillies, but that doesn't look like it's gonna happen unless the Phillies, just go on a tear. I'd much rather face the Phillies than the Padres in the postseason. God, I want that bye so goddamn bad. Because I feel like it will do such wonders for our team. It's got to be so nerve-wracking to have to live and die with every pitch like this, especially after all the wins you've stacked. I mean, we're 2 away from 100 wins. Which, if you had said, "Hey, we're gonna win 100 games this year," you would have been like, "Fuck yeah, dude! All right, let's roll." But having to, I mean, it's kind of cool. I'll be honest. Like, it's nerve-wracking, but it is definitely cool that like it's just us versus the Braves and like for the division. I think that's definitely cool. I just wish we were at full like health, that full staff. Like, wish we had Marte, and our bullpen was a little sturdier. Although the bullpen has not been, I guess that they have not been that bad. Joely Rodriguez has really come on of late, so I can't really knock them too much. It's just our offense tends to go to sleep some games, just like forgets how to hit, forgets how to work the count. Can't have it, won't have it. So, but from what I'm seeing on Baseball Reference, it looks like our best case scenario is we have 104 wins, we win the division. Our worst case scenario is that we win 1 more game. They have us at 56% chance of winning the division, but they have the Braves with a higher percentage of making the league championship series, which I thought was interesting. They also have the Braves as are reaching the league championship series. They have the Braves with a higher percentage percentage. They have the Braves with the second highest percent odds of winning the pennant and the second highest odds of winning the World Series. You know, that's what we're up against right now. That's what we're up against. Versus sub 500 teams, Carrasco is 11-2 with a 2.14 ERA, and hitters from those clubs have a 247, 295, 369 slash line against them. Of course, he didn't. This was before the Marlins game where he got kind of knocked around. And then Walker is 2-3 with a 5.01 ERA against winning teams and 10-1 with a 2.29 mark against losing ones. Only 4 starts of fewer than 5 innings compared to 7 for Carrasco. So if you're looking at that whole comparison matchup, Carrasco versus Walker, I guess you go with Carrasco because he's the veteran and I guess you go with Walker. I don't know, dude. Again, I'm not high on either one of those. I think I'd just go with Trevor Williams, call it a day. So a lot of people criticizing Buck for a lot of the moves he's making, letting Nito bat late in the game against the Marlins. And then, people criticizing that, but then Nito almost hits it out of the ballpark for a walk-off, gets a double and put the Mets in a good position to win that game. Not pitch hitting for McCann, not taking DeGrom out in the 6th against the Pirates. There are a lot of moves that people are questioning as we get down to the wire that they weren't questioning before. It feels like he was pushing all the right buttons before, and now it's like not so much. But dude, it's Buck. I trust this dude wholeheartedly. I trust him. I think these are intentional decisions and moves to see what he's got going on for the postseason. He's thinking about the postseason, like especially after they clinched last week. Like as soon as that happened, he was like, okay, now I got to start planning for the postseason. I need to plan for not only the bye week, but I'm going to plan for we're playing in the wild card. Like he's planning like a madman. And so I completely have faith in him and the decisions he's making. He's got a reason. It's not like he's not thinking about it. And it's not like he's crapping the bed and all of a sudden he's panicking and making a panic move. None of that's happening. Every move that he's making is solidified or based on logic, reason, experience. Like he's got it under control. I'm not going to question him much, until he gives me a reason to question it. And I don't think he has. So still, like it's doing a number on me right now. These games, dude. Doing a number on me. But this will be exciting. Who knows what's in store for next week's episode of Giant Mess, because we could be celebrating a division title, or we could be gearing up for what could be an early exit in the playoffs. I don't want to say it, but damn, like that wild card against the Padres, for whatever reason, is just giving me the heebie-jeebies, dude. So let's go win in Atlanta, okay? And then let's not let the Nats be pesky. Let's swat those Nats and finish on a high note. Because I know that like that 2015 season where we clinched the division early and then we kind of went into coast mode, cruise control mode, that scared the piss out of me. So I was like, wow, we have zero momentum going into the playoffs. And then of course, Daniel Murphy decided to be a superhero. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Why are you listening to me? Get the hell out of here. Go out there and get some strange. All right, that's enough. That's enough. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, let me buy you a drink when I get a job. I can't buy you anything right now. I'm sorry. Just put it on my tab. And until next week, adios, muchachos.